Alright, True Crew, welcome back for another episode. If this is your first time, hopefully you enjoy. Leave a comment if you find something interesting. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Check out the website. Get your downloads on setting goals, fitness, and nutrition. The link's down below, along with social media and the podcast. Alright, True Crew, coming at you today with why suicide is a sin. Why it's the worst thing that you can do. Because I know a lot of people feel this way, and it's a difficult thing to understand, but it could be overcome, right? Now we'll go off of church, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off a book I just read, which was very interesting. It's a book I think everybody should read. It's an amazing book, and I'll pick it up here in a second. But why, if you're new to the channel, I am a Catholic Christian, but why does the church say it in general, right? So I think I remember hearing a long time ago on a video that they said the real reason why the church ended up having to say that suicide was a sin was because back in the early thousands, 1100, 1200, something like that, priests were just killing themselves maybe because times were difficult, and it was better just to leave this earth and go straight to heaven. So in reality, that was the real reason why they had to create suicide as a sin. That's why we had to create that law and put that into effect because of that. And in reality, though, it comes down to we've got to understand that this life is a gift. Right? Our life is a gift in general. This is a gift given to you, right? Not by your parents. Your parents were given the gift as well. Not by your grandparents. The gift was given to them as well. But it's a gift from God if you believe in that God. It's a gift in general. Even if you don't believe in God, it's a gift. And don't we always talk trash about somebody who re-gifts your gift and gives it to someone else? So in reality, suicide is almost kind of like re-gifting, right? You're not truly appreciating the gift you've been given. And of course, we start as immature, right? I've also heard it said like we're one of the few creatures who have to be taken care of by our parents by so long, usually within a couple weeks, couple months, right? Every other animal, they're off flying, running, doing their thing. Sometimes even minutes after they're born, they're walking. Versus humans, we are dependent upon others for a long period of time. So it takes longer for us to develop, and that's why the worst thing that could ever happen is a young child committing suicide. Now, I dated a girl when I was in high school, and her neighbor, our friend, Tia, she actually killed herself because of a relationship. You know, that's a difficult thing. I haven't thought about that in forever, man. That was when I was like 15, 16. And that's pretty sad. But once again, it's the gravest sin because you are playing the role of God. It's like anything else. The reason, and the majority of the time, why the church says it's a sin or something that shouldn't be done is because we are playing the role of God. And it's not our role, it's not our job to play the role of God, right? That's the main thing. It's not our role to play God. And of course, they say it's like the most selfish thing, right? So if you are doing the most selfish things in your life, I've said this before in my video on overcoming extremes, overcoming sin and addiction, if you are unable to overcome these extremes of selfishness, because that's what suicide is, it's extreme selfishness, right? There's a video going around about how Keanu Reeves, well, that was just a miscarriage, never mind, so which is a horrible thing as well, but, you know, there are even times where a parent's child, a family, the child will commit suicide and the family breaks up, right? So you've got to understand those consequences within your own life as a child. If you were someone that is contemplating suicide, you don't know the repercussions that can take place after you leave this world, the great lives you were supposed to touch. And we've got to understand that right now is not forever. The pain you will have right now might seem overwhelming, but as you go about your day through your life, it'll get duller and duller and duller, or you will become less sensitive to those difficult times. So I want you to understand that as well, especially if you are a youngster, right? So now I'm going to get into the book. I think everybody should read this book. This book is freaking amazing, man. Orthodoxy, G.K. Chesterton. It's an amazing book. I read his other one first. Thank you to my wonderful girlfriend, Regina, for purchasing this book for me for my birthday. It's outstanding. And he kind of talks about it and gives a different point of why suicide is a grave sin and deserves hell. So, this is going to be page 71 of Orthodoxy. So it says, I put these things not in their mature logical sequence, but as they come. And this view was clear and sharpened by an accident of the time. Under the lengthening shadow of Ibsen, an argument arose whether it was not a very nice thing to murder oneself. Grave moderners told us that we must not even say poor fellow of a man who had blown his brains out, since he was an inviolable man, or an inviolable person, and had only blown them out because of their exceptional excellence. Mr. William Archer even suggests that in a golden age there will be a penny in a slot machine, by which would be penny in a slot machines by which a man could kill himself for a penny. In all this I found myself utterly hostile to many who called themselves liberal and humane. Not only is suicide a sin, it is the sin. It is the ultimate and absolute evil, the refusal to make an interest in existence, the refusal to take the oath of loyalty to life. The man who kills a man kills a man. The man who kills himself kills all men. As far as he is concerned, he wipes out the world. His act is worse, symbolically considered, than any rape or dynamite outrage. For it destroys all buildings, it insults all women. The thief is satisfied with diamonds, but the suicide is not. The suicide is not. That is the crime. He cannot be bribed, even by the blazing stone of the celestial city. The thief compliments the thing he steals, if not the owner of them, but the suicide insults everything on earth, not the stealing it, by not stealing it. But the suicide insults everything on earth by not stealing it. He defiles every flower by refusing to live for its sake. This is not a tiny creature in the cosmos at whom his death is not a snare. When a man hangs himself on a tree, the leaves might fall off in anger, and the birds fly away in fury, for each has received a personal affront. Of course, there may be pathetic emotional excuses for the act. There often are for rape, and there almost always is for dynamite. But if it comes to clear ideas and the intelligent meaning of things, then there is much more rational and philosophical truths in the burial at the crossroads and the stake driven through the body than in Mr. Archer's suicidal automatic machines. There is a meaning in burying the suicide apart. The man's crime is different from other crimes. It makes even crimes impossible. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then he goes on to kind of talk about martyrs, which maybe I'll do something about later. But I think that's very, very interesting thinking of it that way. You know, so everybody's probably heard everything that I brought at the beginning of the video, everything that I had mentioned. But in reality, you've probably never heard it spoken or written or even thought of in the sense that this book, Orthodoxy, has just brought it up. And there's so many more great things in this book that are going to help you that I hope you pick the book up in reality. You know, I was listening to a podcast the other day and they said, you know, if a stranger were to come to me and say, you need to read this book, it'll change your life, you wouldn't do it, right? You don't know the person. They don't know you. You have no affiliation, no friendship with this individual, so you would probably just throw it away. That's why they say sometimes giving somebody a book is the worst thing ever. But if your best friend, your mother, your father, somebody that you look up to, gave you a book and said, you need to read this book, it has changed my life. If that person truly means something to you, you would set the book down you're even reading and read that book instantly. So that's my challenge to you right now. If you think this podcast is something great, or this podcast, I do have a podcast, but this YouTube channel is something great and it's helped you, you respect my points of views at times, then I challenge you to set down any book you're reading right now. I challenge you to turn off the TV, to turn off the music. I challenge you to not work out right now, even though you know this video is about exercise and fitness as well, this YouTube channel. And go buy this book. Go to your library and rent this book and read it now, at least the first chapter. I guarantee you the first chapter will amaze you. So once again, there we go, True Crew. Why suicide is the evil of all evils, and a challenge to you to read that book. So once again, I hope this helps. Don't forget to follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there, links down below. Subscribe to this channel, share and like these videos.